Hello everyone, welcome back to my BlazBlue Central Fiction summary. This is part 2. If you want to watch part 1, the link will be in the description below, so without further ado, let's get on to the video. Amane himself laughs at the notion of Ragna being the enemy of all and tells Ragna that if he fails, he will cease to exist, and this will happen even if he succeeds. Amane tells Ragna to find the gate, and Amane will be watching over him regardless. In the meantime, Ragna goes off to steal the dreams of more qualified, such as Bang, Lychee, Arcune, and Bullet. However, Ragna keeps experiencing interventions that keeps reversing his progress, so Ragna decides to team up with Kagura and his quote-unquote crew, along with Rachel. Kokonoe informs Ragna that the Soul Eater can't consume Seether endlessly, and as the vessel, Ragna's body will rip apart due to the XX Seether. Ragna waves her off, saying that since he wasn't born with a drive, his capacity was bigger than most people, which is why he's able to use the BlazBlue, though Kokonoe notes that it has already started consuming him. Kokonoe drops that Nine had created an 11th Gnostic Taurus known as the Corpus Sepulchro Requiem, and that she has hidden in a workshop directly below Sector 7. The group decided to travel there in order to put it out of commission and stop Nine, but not before Jin and Jubei pop in. Celica reveals that Jubei is Kokonoe's dad, which shocks Ragna completely, but Kokonoe doesn't care and calls him a deadbeat. Jubei explains that he and Nine had used Masashi to shift the space that even Hakumen would have trouble entering the workshop. The main components are magic power, the blood of Nine, and the technique to combine the two to deactivate as the key to get into Nine's workshop. Celica has the blood of Nine, and they need alchemy to fuse Celica's blood with magic. This is why Jin is here with Trinity so that she can use alchemy. Meanwhile, Carl and Relius have their talk. The group reaches Nine's workshop, where it's revealed that Requiem is an imitation of the Master Unit. Nine's goal was to create a god with her own two hands close enough to the real thing. Nine attacks the group and arrives to the scene, telling Ragna that she intends to end the world, not to destroy it, as it's because the world holds so many precious things to her, which is why she can't bring herself to outright destroy it. Nine has saw the truth of the world and has been driven insane by the revelation. 100 years ago, the Dark War had occurred and the Black Beast was slain. Nine had begun to wonder why did the Black Beast exist and why it showed hostility towards humans. Due to Blood Edge's actions, the beast was stalled and it was killed by the 6 heroes. Nine felt something off that having Ars Magus, and in that short time to create it, to kill the beast would have been an impossible task despite her being a quote-unquote genius. She recalls that there was a war that delved even further back than the Dark War, known as the Prime Field War. At the same time this conversation is happening, Relius is also talking to Carl about the Prime Field War. The Prime Field War was a battle between humanity and the Prime Field devices. It had started with humanity detected the Master Unit within the boundary. After that, the Master Unit was observed, and it was realized that not only it was a god, it was a creation that could be controlled by humanity, and that it became an object the moment it was observed. Humanity then decided to control the Master Unit by using another creation of theirs, the Takamagahara system. But humanity realized that the Takamagahara system was flawed. This was because it couldn't intervene on the possibilities that it composed the world, and even if it was possible to rewind time, it couldn't change the events that started from that point. It was missing something to intervene on the events itself, so humanity conducted many experiments to contact the Master Unit. The Master Unit can only respond to objects in human form, and this is why the Boundary Interface Prime Field devices were created. The first Prime Field device has successfully made contact with the Master Unit and became the Eye, the power of the Observer, and that was the missing factor in the system. The power to turn possibility into reality, the power of the Azure. Unfortunately for humanity, the Prime Fields had gained souls and became self-aware. Humanity feared that the immense power the Prime Fields held could easily change the world on their own free will, so humanity destroyed the Prime Fields and tossed them to the boundary so they couldn't intervene on the world anymore. The first Prime Field was among the ones tossed into the boundary and had managed to contact the Master Unit again. The Origin had saw what was happening during the experiments, what their sisters had been suffering through, which kicked off the start of the Prime Field War. While humanity had bigger numbers, the Prime Fields had much more power, and on top of that, the first Prime Field had the power of phenomenon intervention. As a last-ditch effort, humanity had created a special weapon that wasn't affected by phenomenon intervention. It could easily destroy the Prime Fields, the sealed Armament Ezeoid, the anti-observer weapon. And it was revealed that Clavis Alucard, the father of Rachel, had given the idea to create it. There was a limit on how much phenomenon that the Ezeoid could hold off, and it wasn't able to halt out the Prime Fields either, so humanity decided to mass produce a self-observing weapon based off the techniques used to create the Ezeoid. 9 revealed that humanity had started the war out of fear and the Prime Fields were only resisting because they had a dream. All the Prime Fields only wanted one thing, to be considered individuals and be recognized by humans themselves as people. 9 also revealed that humans completely lost their minds and created a monster, which is what 9 based Satake Mikazuchi off of, the Black Beast. While Jin was confused on why humanity would create the Black Beast intentionally, 9 simply counters that by saying that even to this day that humans are still trying to create it, as shown during the Ikaruga Civil War. 9 says the Black Beast was far easier to create than Take Mikazuchi, and all you needed was a Prime Field device and the Azure Grimoire. The Black Beast cannot be controlled and it will devour everything, humans, Prime Fields, anything, and had already ended the world twice already due to its actions. Humanity didn't care. All they wanted to do was win. Once they did, they could restart the world by obtaining the Azure and completing the Takamagahara system. Everything could be rebuilt once again. But before they could even consider doing such a thing, it was considered that the first Prime Field, the Origin, had already started rebuilding the world herself and wished for a human world. The vessel used to rebuild the world is the Embryo, and it needed an immense amount of Caesar to be possible. It turned out that a massive amount had already started brimming, and it was actually from the Black Beast, which was used as a catalyst for the Embryo. The world that exists, or rather the world that exists up till now, was based off information from the world that was wiped out before. The Origin rebuilt the world, and thus it makes the world the dream of God, the central fiction. 9 says that is what she had saw, the truth of the world during her time in the Boundary, but the world was doomed to repeat over and over again due to the never-ending dream of the girl who had become God. Kokonoe asks why the events up until Kagetsuchi keep repeating, though 9 says that she doesn't know and doesn't care. But what she does know is that this new world is a horrible one, forced to reset every time the Origin doesn't like the outcome, and that the Black Beast will consume the world in the end. 9 hates this, having to do the Dark War over and over again, having to struggle through the pain of it all, and 9 had saw it all. The war, the many lives lost in the repetitious state, Celica dying in a church fire again, with 9 not being able to do anything about it. All 9 wanted to do was protect her sister and her loved ones, which is why she fought so hard. But what was the point of it if the Origin would repeat the events based on her own whims? 9 was sick and tired of it all. Tired of seeing her sister constantly die. Tired of suffering through the same events over and over again. Tired of not being able to see it. 9 was going to break the cycle, to create a new world where it isn't based off of someone else's desires, and it will be a perfect system where no one is allowed to intervene, going as far as to create a new god herself, the Requiem. 9's dream is to make a world where everyone else's dreams will be fulfilled, which Requiem being the Requiem for God itself, as Rachel notes. Ragnar is done with 9 talking and prepares to fight her. Noelle tells Ragnar that 9 is one of the 6 heroes, with Ragnar simply saying that she was one of them, and that the 9 he knew wasn't some grand hero. Despite her being naggy and scary, Ragnar knew that 9 was a strong woman, and that made a ridiculous promise with him to save the world, that she was a brave woman that Celica could be proud of, and that she could boast about. Ragnar says that someone with siblings, he can relate with her, and that understands her dream, which is why he has to stop her, that he'll save her, and with that, the two begin their battle. Ragnar manages to take advantage of 9 being distracted by a vision of Celica's younger self and to strike her down. 9 refuses Celica's healing magic, and Ragnar comes over to 9 to tell her that he'll carry her dream along with him. 9 chuckles and says that she'll be watching him from the other side, to see what his dream exactly is. Izanami immediately appears, surrounding the group with her Yasukani no Magatama, and claims that she'll personally send 9 off as a reward for being her faithful servant into a world of eternal nothingness. Izanami makes fun of 9, saying that despite existing outside of reason and also being a qualified, she couldn't defeat someone like Ragnar. 9 stands up and says that she was able to come this far because of her friends and family, that she risked everything to save them. Izanami notices the radiance of the extinguishment within 9 and knows that it's the very life force of those who live, something that she detests the most. Izanami launches an attack at the group, and 9 casts a phenomenon intervention to halt her opponent, simply telling her that it wasn't just her own doing as she had activated Requiem with the intention on detonating it. 9 then restrains Izanami and claims that while it is still incomplete, it was enough to stop her. Running out of time, 9 tells Ragnar that Doomsday can no longer be stopped, and that the core of Doomsday itself is Izanami. As long as Izanami exists, Doomsday cannot be stopped, and it is due to Izanami's existence being death itself, it is impossible to destroy her. 9 attempts to stall Izanami to put off Doomsday for a time, but that time limit is only a week, and Ragnar needs to do something within that week, referencing the promise they made back in Phase Shift where Ragnar had to stall the Black Beast, while Nine had created Ars Magus to stop it. Nine says not to defeat his sister, but to save her, with Ragnar agreeing to it and that he'll find a way to save Nine too. Nine disagrees and says that it is impossible, because the Radiance of Extinguishment had already been casted, and that the catalyst for activating Requiem is Nine's own life. Nine claims that she doesn't have any regrets and is only concerned about her own possibility, but if Ragnar really is the Man of Azure, she'll bet on his possibility, just a little. Out of nowhere, Nu arrives to the scene with the idea of taking Requiem, but seeing Nine annoyed Nu enough to strike at her. Despite his injuries, Jubei swoops into action to protect his wife and tells the group to escape. Nine finally meets her end, pondering that she never thought the day Jubei would come and protect her once again, calling it a dream, and with that, Nine had used up all her life force and dies. Jubei continues fighting Nu, though Ragnar attempts to jump in and help. Rachel stops Ragnar and tells him that he had made a promise to Nine. Kokonoe can't teleport the group out due to space bending, which is ruining her coordinates, and Izanami mocks them, saying that Nine's efforts were futile and that she'll get out once the time freezes. Celica rushes to Rachel and made contact with her, teleporting the group out. Izanami noted that this interested her and says that if Ragnar really is a possibility, he needs to show her his power.